الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أما بعد. So after near completion of Nurul Idah, where we covered our 5 basic fiqh chapters on Tahara, Salah, Zakah, Hajj and Sawm, we are now moving on to book called Mukhtasar-Al-Qudoori or Mukhtasar-Al-Qudoori of Imam Qudoori rahmatullah. We had the introduction last week. So today, inshallah ta'ala, we start off with the initial basic description and discussion around the Buyoo, Kitab-ul-Buyoo. And we mentioned that we would skip the first 5 areas that we have already covered in Nurul Idah and move straight on to Kitab-ul-Buyoo for the fact that we have already covered that in the last year. So let's do this Kitab-ul-Buyoo to the end. And then once we've completed that much, that's a huge stuff that we perhaps 2 years worth of discussion. Once we've completed that, then we'll come back to the beginning with Tahara and round up like this. That we would have gone through the same stuff again after 2 or 3 years. That inshallah ta'ala make it much more consolidated rather than doing it now, because quite a few things must be fresh in your mind and it'd be too much. So just going through the same thing again, inshallah ta'ala. Okay. So let's go to Kitab-ul-Buyoo, the book of transaction. Bay' is the singular and Buyoo' is plural, transaction. Okay, so bay'un, bay'. Now this is one of the Arabic language's beauty, that there are certain words which are called adad, which means that, and many other languages have same issue, which is that a word may mean the same thing and its opposite. So there are certain words in Arabic that means both. So bay' actually could be shira as well, means selling and buying both. But generally, when we say bay' means where someone sells something, and the buyer, the person who buys, that action is called shira. Bay', shira. But it is used interchangeably in Quran, in Hadith, in Arabic language, because this is from awdad. There are many words like that. The one, for example, another example, one. Inna ba'da dhanni ithm. One. Zan, we say in Urdu. So one, badgumani. Yeah, one. That one means assumptions. And that also means yaqeen, certainty. So there are many words like that. And inshallah, with that, so bay' is the word that we'll be using inshallah a lot. So linguistically or technically, normally it means tamliku shay bi shay. You make someone else the malik, the owner of something. In exchange, you get something from it. So I give you something and you give me something else. I give you my mobile phone, you give me 50 pounds for that. That you made me owner of that 50 pounds, which was your wealth, your money, and I made you malik or owner of that mobile phone. So that's called tamlik. So I have made you malik and you made me malik of something in exchange of something. Okay. So that's a simple definition. And in Sharia, it has to be not anything. In bay', it could be anything. And that is why in Sharia, there's a specific word for the al-mal. There has to be al-mal, not any mal, anything that has a potential value. It has to have some intrinsic value. You can't sell, oh, I'm just giving you this dust for 5 pounds. You can't sell. You can't sell something which is not mal mutaqawwim, something that has not got any intrinsic value to it. So that's number one. Or something which Sharia does not consider a mal. I want to send you a leg piece of pork. You can't sell it. That's not considered mal in Islam at all. You have to throw it away. You have to, even if you got it, you can't sell it, you can't buy it. You had some vinegar indoors or some fruit juices indoors, and after some time they became alcohol. What can you do? Can you sell it? No. Can you own it? No. If you throw it away, that's the only thing you can do with that. That is not mal. That is why in Sharia it would be making someone else owner of al-mal, a thing that has some intrinsic value, which is shar'an acceptable. Bit taradi, another term there is taradi, means with your free will, with your consent, not on the gunpoint. And I can't sell your stuff to someone else. You can't do that. It has to be with the proper consent. So that's why if you own something and you're not there, without your allowance, and you do not make someone else your wakil, no one else can sell. No, your father can't send your stuff. No one else can sell. Your wife cannot sell your stuff. No one can sell anyone else's stuff without their consent. They can make you a wakil. Okay, you go and do it on my behalf. That's fine. So if they're not there, they can say, please, can you sell my car? I'm abroad. Fine. But they have to allow it. They have to give the consent. So you can do on their behalf. That's a different matter. We'll cover all of that, inshallah. So personally, I cannot sell anyone else's stuff. No one can sell anyone else's stuff because there's no taradi found, no consent found. The bay' is fasid. Is that clear? These are basic things. So you can make malik with things, the essence, the thing itself, or you can make malik of that manfa, the benefit. So if I lend you my car only to just drive it for a week or so, I did not make you malik of that car. I'm just letting you have the benefit of that car. Or I just sell you my car. The two different situations. Either you sell the ayn, the thing itself, or you sell the benefit of that. You can do both. Both are permissible. Now, 4 things. You may do with ayn or with manfaat, 2 things. Each of the 2 would be in 2 situations, 2 scenarios. Either you do with iwad or without iwad. Iwad means in exchange, I want something back from you. So if I ask you to take my mobile phone and in return give me £1, £100 or something. So that is called bay'. So I've already sold it to you. I say, you know what? No, I give it to you. You don't have to worry about that. Keep it. That's called hiba. So without iwad, bila iwad. So I'm not asking you anything in exchange. No money, nothing, no wealth, no mobile phone in exchange, or nothing else. Like there's no, making me malik of anything. So you're not giving me anything in exchange. So this is called hiba, gift. That's permissible as well. Or you might want to donate or have a transaction with the manfa'a, with the additional benefits of that particular thing. So I gave you my car for £500. So that is obviously with the iwad, that was, what was that? Bay'. I gave you my car to use it only for the weekend. And after that, return it back to me for £50. The 7-seater you needed to go to wherever. So what is that? It's called ijara. Okay, I leased it to you. I just rented it out to you. Rent. Okay, so this is not the car per se. I will sold my car to you. I've sold the benefit of that car, which is to drive it wherever you want to drive it for however long period. Is that clear? It's called ijara. It's rent. I didn't lend you my house. I didn't sell you my house. Rather, I asked you or allow you to stay in my house for that long period, for a year. So I did not make you malik of the house itself. Rather, I made you malik of the benefit of that, which is to stay there, to dwell therein. Is that clear? So that's called ijara, to make someone else malik of the manfa, of the benefit for something in return. And finally, you do the same manfa, but for free. You use my car, I don't mind. That's a spare one. I don't need any money from that. But you just do it. I'm not making you owner of that though. You have to return it back whenever. So this is called ariya. Ariya is when as a brotherly, yeah, exactly, a temporary gift or something. You just have it without any money. I don't know what would be the term for it in English. What do you think, Saeed? If you just say, can I just borrow your anything that you say again? Yeah, just lend it. Yeah, as a free lend. I mean, did you not expect it? Normally, you lend something exactly for something. Yeah, you're just borrowing it for a temporary benefit. That's it. So that's called ariya. Ariya. So these are the 4 things that you could do in your transaction. Normally, if you make someone malik, either of the ayn or of the manfa, with iwab, without iwab. Okay, so what is sale? What is bay? What is transaction? It would be concluded. It would be concluded with ijab and qubul. Ijab means that anyone, it doesn't have to be me or you, whoever is the seller, doesn't have to be the seller saying that I sell it to you. Or it could be the other way. I buy it for something. That's whoever initiates the transaction is called, the one who is doing is called, the action is called ijab. Ijab is a proposal. So I propose to you, take it for £50. Or you say, I want to take it for £50. Can you sell it to me? Would you sell it to me? I want to buy this for £50. You say, oh, I want to. Whoever initiates is the one who initiates it, and the action is called ijab. The other party has the right to accept it. So the other party could accept or could reject it. It's called qabul. Ijab and qabul. Okay. Same thing as happened in nikah. Man or the woman, whoever says first is called ijab. Proposal could be from the boy side or from the girl side. Whoever proposed is a proposer. Second person will just accept. Ijab, qabul. Okay, same thing here. So I sell it, you buy it. So I've done the ijab, you've done the. Now there's certain condition for that. Now, Imam mentioned, which is very important, to say in past tense, I sold it and I bought it. Why that is? Because this is only in Arabic though. Because in Arabic language, if you know a little bit of grammar there, then you know there's madi and mudari. So mudari could mean present tense and could mean future tense. If I say in mudari, abi'u, I do this sale with you. So I do it, or I'm doing it, or I will do it. It can mean both. So if you say I will do it, then that transaction hasn't happened. For future is only a condition, it's only a promise, it's only something you said it. Whether you would do it or not, we don't know. Even if it's a promise, it's not done yet. So for transaction to happen, there has to be something that is categorical. So in English and in Urdu, you can say in present tense as well. I sell it, fine. Main bechta hu, that's fine. I bech raha hu, both fine. But not in Arabic, because there'll be a problem. Unless you both understand that this means we are using it in mudari, but we mean it's now, not in future. Then it's okay. The bottom line is in Sharia, whatever rule we discuss, you would know, inshallah ta'ala, 9 out of 10, it is to do with avoidance of any dispute, a problem between the parties. Whatever could lead to potential dispute, Sharia doesn't allow that. It's called mufdi ila niza. Anything that would lead you to an altercation, a fight, people throwing up or breaking up their relationship, that Sharia does not allow that. That is why many of the customary things become okay. Because now Sharia say, okay, if it doesn't lead you to fight over this, then alhamdulillah, that's fine. In some, past times, previous times, there was a problem, so they say no. Now it's okay. Why? Because it's now known. We come to that example in a minute. So obviously in any other language, it's fine as long as it means present or past, not in future. You can't do a transaction in future. That would not conclude. It would only be concluded once you have said it in the confirmed way, perfect tense, either past or the present. When someone says that I am selling you or I am buying you, the other party has the free will to reject it. And they should get, it's called khiyar. Khiyar means you have the right, you have got the ikhtiyar, you have the choice of rejecting or accepting it. Khiyar qabul is called. Now, when can you have your khiyar qabul? So let's have a look. So you in the majlisul aqd, within that sitting, within that gathering. So I said, okay, I want to buy this laptop for £100. Now you have to say yes or no, agree or disagree, accept or not accept in the majlis. And majlis is while we are discussing this topic, while we are having a discussion around this, and you do not run away or you do not start talking about something else, and half an hour later say, oh yeah, actually, what did you say? I accept it. Not allowed. It must be done there and then. Yes, if we're still discussing that, okay, so you're saying 100, but I don't think it's 100 is enough. Let me give a call to my friend to find out what is the value. That's all related to this. You have not moved away from the topic, then it's fine. So majlis or any sitting or any gathering means that you are still on the topic. There's no signs of i'rab, no sign of turning away from the topic found. So I said, I want to buy this for $100 or pound. Would you sell it to me? Before you said anything, you started going out of the masjid. Then done. Majlis is done. Even a minute later, when you came back and you said, I want to accept it, the time is gone. So you had that time. You could say, okay, give me 5 minutes. Or you could even say, give me 3 days. You could ask for up to 3 days. Okay, I don't know what is the value of this. Okay, I'm not a seller or a buyer. I need to verify that. That's fine. But you have to put that, you have to stipulate that condition that I would come back to you within 3 days. Maximum 3 days or before that. You can't keep someone hanging for 5 years later. Say, I actually want to buy that for £100 now. Now that I realize the mile of laptop is being stolen. You can't do that. So then you have to, you can reject or accept within that majlis. A majlis does not necessarily mean the same gathering. It may carry on for a bit longer, as long as you're talking about the same thing. So you have that khiyar qabul, the acceptance, the choice of accepting it. Now, as I said, the same situation, same place, ideally. You move out of this place into something else without confirming it, then the majlis is gone. But doesn't have to be, so it does not mean, so we're talking to each other about this mobile phone and we're walking. So you can't say, oh, but we started off our discussion there, and we're now 100 meters away from that. Half an hour later, we're still talking about this. Is the majlis still on the same majlis? So the place means that we are in the same place, means we, as long as we continue. So it's not about that, it's about the same scenario, same situation. Okay. So when we say same place like this, we're talking about this, and you haven't confirmed and you left. And you went even to the next step and you moved out of this place, then that's a different place. But we carry on walking and having a discussion in the plane, for example, and we've got a few thousand kilometers still talking about this, not a problem. It remains the same. So it is within the same scenario, within the same circumstances. Okay, then you can, stay on the same topic, discussing whatever. Then it's same majlis. Majlis will up, and that is why there'll be, that is why some of the imams would stick on that. And there's a big difference between Hanafis and others about this concept. So keep that in mind. It will come maybe at some point why there's difference about that. Okay, there's some hadiths to go either way, and that is why there's a bit detailed discussion. Especially when you do your hadith studies, inshallah ta'ala, that'll be very useful to know. Once I said it and you accepted it, or you said it or I accepted it, doesn't matter who said, if both parties with their free will in the same situation, same gathering, accepted, so ijab and qabul done, then that's done. No one can change it. I said, I want to buy this for £100. You agree? Saying yes. The minute you said yes, done. Now you can't say, oh, I don't want to now. Few minutes later, you have no choice. Haram to say that. It's completely wrong. You can't do that. You can't nullify that. No one can, even I cannot say, oh, you know what? I want to withdraw. You can't withdraw. You can't withdraw if you have already made a transaction by ijab and qabul in the same gathering. Done. With the view. I know the question coming up. What are the two things that you have the choice of? One choice, three things actually. One I already mentioned. One khiyar, one choice is that you want to say, you know what, I want to do this, but give me 3 days. You have the choice to say that, but you have to say that before accepting. You can't say that I accepted it. Oh, I want to take 3 days. No, you can't. If you have accepted it, that's done. The transaction is completed. You can't nullify it. There are ways to nullify it. There are two things which would allow you to do nullification. So which is khiyar aib. Khiyar aib means that you have a choice if there was a defect in it. So I said that I want to buy it, and this is the situation. The normal laptop has to do these functions. But when I went home and I realized, I showed it to someone, I just tried myself, it didn't work. And I showed it to you, I said, you know, brother, you sold it, but there's this defect. You check, oh yes, there is a defect, fine. Then you would just say, okay, then I nullify this contract, then I can do it. This is called the choice that I have for nullification based on a defect found in that laptop or whatever I was selling. Is that clear? A defect found afterwards, because you didn't know. That is supposed to be not like that. Defect is not for example, the defect means I thought this thing that you're selling me, or this laptop, it has 2 cameras in it, but that's not normal thing. You had it in front of you, you should have known it then. Defect means something which is known for that particular thing to not have. They should work normally. So for example, I should be able to call, I should be able to text, I should be able to download stuff. That's a normal function of a phone. That must be there. Oh, I thought this has got extra something on it. But that's your problem. You should have asked me about this. That's not a defect. Not having that is not a defect. A defect is it doesn't serve the purpose it was built for. So, oh, I thought this was Nokia 6 or iPhone 20 or 15, but it turned out to be 6 or 7. That's your fault. You should have seen it then. Now that's one. Khiyari, aib. Aib. So first was khiyari shart. Then you put a condition for 3 days because you wanted to just verify and get it a bit more clarified with people. Or just do your own homework for 3 days. You can have that, but you have to say that before you accept it. You can't accept and then say it. That's number one. Second is this khiyari aib. There was a defect found afterwards. Then you have to. Third one is khiyari ru'ya. You sold something or you bought something without seeing it. Then you have a choice of looking at when you got it, and then you looked at that and you say, oh, this is not what I wanted. This is completely different. Then you have a choice to say, actually, I didn't see it. So, but if you saw it there, it's sitting there, a heap of wheat sitting there. I said, this is the wheat I'm selling you. These are the mangoes I'm selling you. You came and you said, that's fine. I'll buy it for that, whatever much. You took it at home and said, oh, actually, when I looked at that, I didn't like this color. No, you can't do that. You had a look at that then. You've seen it already. But you did it on phone and you said, I want to buy that. Yeah, whatever that is, I'm fine with that. Then when I looked at that, I said, you know what, I want to notify that contract because this is not what I was looking for. I expected it to be different, color-wise, taste-wise, or whatever. So you had the choice to do that because you never saw it before. If you already saw, I came and I saw it today, and 2 days later I said, oh, Faisal, can I just get you? I've already seen it. So I can't say that I've never seen this mobile phone. I've seen it, I knew what it was, and based on that, I'm making a transaction, and you accepted it, then I can't say, but after I had this contract, I never saw that. No, it's not after that. Once you knew it, you've seen it, you're aware of all the basic things, then the choice is gone. Is that clear? So 3 choices that one can have before they can, if they wanted to nullify that or do the first of that contract. Khiyari, shart, if they put one. But Imam would only mention 2. Imam would only mention these 2. Why that is? Because the third one is not given. It's only up to you if you wanted to put that as a condition. If you stipulate, add as a condition at that time, it could be I could do that as a seller and you could do that as a buyer as well, both ways. So I say, okay, I want to sell it, but give me 3 days. I can sell this to you for 3, but I need 3 days to verify because I may be selling it cheap. I'm not too clever about this. Fine, you can say the same. But I need to do some homework because, yeah, it looks like a good deal to me, but I want to just check it. Can I show it to my, mechanic who knows better?
What about if the job is done, but let's say down the line, a day or 2 later, but you have not exchanged the money or the item, and then later on both parties agree to nullify the sale.
Yeah, so if they both agree on nullifying, so there must be a reason for that. What is the reason behind it? So they have got that Obviously, if mutually they agree on something, then Sharia gives a lot of allowance, because as I said, all the rules are related to avoidance of any fight. So if they both say, you know what, actually I wanted to do it for that reason, actually I wanted to do it for that reason, and none of them, we have no problems. There is a leeway for that, but that would all be covered. But there's certain fine details, we cover that as well, inshallah, as we move on. But yeah, that's doable.
The previous slide, when it says off the same topic, say for example, buying a laptop and it's a projector, and then transaction. When I'm discussing laptop with you, and then before finalizing the transaction, I start discussing projector, and then I come back and say, oh, that one is fine, we'll buy it. And then I start discussing.
No, yeah, exactly. That's a change of topic. So you've not done the transaction, you have not completed that transaction. Then what happened? That's a very good example. So you said that, and you moved on to the next item and started discussing that before you could finalize this. So, and then after that, you come back and say, oh, actually, I accept that. So then this is a new proposal from you now. So now I have to then accept. So I have still got the choice. So now I said it then. Now you said, oh, I want to buy this one now. So then I would say, okay, because you did not complete that transaction at that point, this is your proposal. Let me see if I want to sell it or not. Then if I have the zeal, or if I will, then I will sell it. Then I have to accept that as well. So this is, initially it was my proposal and so I was doing the ijab. You could have accepted it, but you never did. You moved on to something else. Then you came back and you started talking about this. Now again, this is your proposal, and now I have to accept it. Okay, then I would say I accept it. If I do accept it, which I would do, obviously, if you said that, and I'm a seller anyway in the shop, this is what normally happens. So they wouldn't mind. But you need to remember that if he says no, he hasn't done anything wrong. So reason for knowing this is like, we say, oh, see, there you are. You have done haram. There was a transaction happened. It never happened. So there was your proposal now. Even at the same condition, if he doesn't want, he doesn't want. That's up to him.
And if that person wants to sell it, but sell it for a higher price.
Different, yeah, that's his choice. He said, now I'm going to take extra £5 on that. Because I saw you going there and you've got some other idea, and then you realize, which means perhaps I'm not selling the right price. I want to get it more because now you are in need. People do that, but you shouldn't do it, but that's up to them. If they say, and then you say, no, then this is a new transaction, new offer from him, £5. Okay, if he said, I accept it, done. If he said, no, I want to do it for £55, then you have to accept it. So this is how it goes. And when they both agree on something, then it becomes mutually accepted.
For example, someone buys or realize that now to give it to a non-Muslim.
Good question, very good question. Something which is haram, if it's in your possession, you're not allowed to take it, to swallow it, to sell it, or to consume it, or to give it to anyone else. A haram thing cannot be gifted to a non-Muslim even. So it's haram, yeah, for them it's not haram, but you can't be a vehicle. So okay, since alcohol is okay, well, let me keep bringing you alcohol. You can't bring or give them anything, even if you had it on your own account. You can't provide someone else, or you can't be a vehicle for a haram consumption. So now you would be a source of that person having that haram. Now you may say, but in fact, if I just say it, perhaps it'll be a bit too tricky for some people. If it's a meat, for example, pork, or haram, or any animal which is like haram meat, okay, not slaughtered properly, you can't even give it to the animals, your pet animals. That's too much, isn't it? Yes, exactly. I know. You have to throw it out. Yeah, animal can take it if they wanted to, but you can't give it to your pet animal. Why? Because you cannot be a party to haram consumption. So you bought haram meat from the shop and you can't give it to someone else to consume it. You can throw it, just throw it away. And whoever takes it, that's their problem. Animal, cat, dog, whichever. But you can't give it, you can't be, as Quran says, وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Do not be a party or supporter for anything which is haram. and which is unlawful. So this is unlawful for you, not unlawful for animal. It's halal for them. Animal can have whatever they want, but you can't provide them something because you are buying it, or you are processing it, or you are taking it. So you can't buy or even have free pork from the shop and give it to you. You can't do that. Okay, this is how the loyalty with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. Don't look at from, oh, are we wasting the food, or no. Don't look at from that angle. It's looking at your loyalty with the Lord. What is the loyalty to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That we would not commit anything haram, and we would not be party to anything haram which is displeasing to you. So it's not about them. It's not about them. For them, it's okay. It's us. Can I support you? Can I lend my shoulder to you to go against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? No, not even to animals, not even to anyone.
He's next to me, and the food I bought is haram, but the person is not a Muslim. He's next to me, my friend is next to me, and he wants it. Can I give it to him?
You can't give it to him. If it's your money, you can't give it to him. You say, even if he asks for it, what you do, you say, I throw it. You say, it's not mine anymore. You throw it and leave. And he would take it. Let him have it through that. That's a hila. That's a hila, but don't quote it. Don't say that Dr. Salim said that you can do it that way, because that's hila. It's a tricky one, because you do not want for that non-Muslim to know that I'm throwing. No, you can throw it on the table there. Leave it there. So, you know what? I can't have it. This is haram. And then he said, "Can I have it? This is not mine anymore. I left it here. Whoever, it's not mine anymore." And then you can walk out. You can't sit with him to have the haram stuff, obviously, unless you then order halal something for you, and then he has taken it while you go out, order nice halal stuff. But why you're in the shop which sells haram and halal as well? Now you know what. Let's give you something on that. In our hospital, they've announced this halal food for Muslims. They're just showing their courtesy, which is good, alhamdulillah. But without discussing with anyone, they just got something. And then they were just in front of everyone else. One of our Muslim brothers, he was just checking the temperature, but they have to do it. They've checked the pour and then keep dipping it different, all the food, and checking the temperature, whether it's too hot or no, just keeping it. Unbeknown to him that this Muslim was checking. What are you doing? We're just checking the temperature. Yeah, but you're using the same thermometer in each of this. This is what we do. And everyone becomes so upset about this contamination. So they asked me on the Jummah. That was Jummah, the last Jummah. So I had to give the whole. So the management is very concerned that no Muslim is buying any meat from us. It is halal meat for them. So I told them that this is the problem. You should have discussed with us. You shouldn't even offer it. But I don't suggest that you should offer, because it's not in your remit. You wouldn't know all the details. And they said it's almost impossible for us to avoid this contamination. So you can have separate thermometer for certain, but not all the time, number one. Second, what about just changing the stuff? We use the same, I've got my gloves. I'm not going to change all the time for different things, and they'll be mixing and matching, dripping or not dripping. You're taking stuff from there, the certain touching or not touching going on. It's very difficult, although they have their gloves on, but when they take whatever out, and I don't know. So bottom line is, don't go for anything for halal meat outside. Don't eat meat outside unless you know this is purely Muslim halal HMC properly slaughtered animal shop. Otherwise it'd be too difficult, because the default, remember, the default for meat is the meat is haram by Quran. Innama harrama alaykum al-maytata maytata. Mayta means dead. So meat is haram for you. Dead meat is haram for you. So when you slaughter an animal, is the animal alive or dead? Dead. Haram. By default, the animal is haram, because they all die. So default is the meat is haram. That's the default position. The Sharia has then given us a leeway to make it halal by two ways. Either hunting with Bismillah, an arrow or gun or your dog. That's one way, hunting. Second is slaughter them. By slaughtering means that you cut their vessels, two vessels, and this windpipe, and behind this is feeding tube. Out of four, there must be two or three minimum. cut. According to Hanafi school, 3 must be cut. So that one vessel is gone. The blood come out, is drained, is nice and clean, and then you can use and consume that animal. That animal is allowed. Now you have to make certain that that animal is slaughtered by all the, according to all the conditions. Firstly, can you confirm that the person who has done that in the shop, any shop other than a normal Muslim shop, is done by a Muslim? Or people of book, yeah, could be Christian, is allowed to have food or the animal slaughtered by a Christian or Jewish men, because they are people of book. So we can have men or women. If they've slaughtered it, we can consume their meat. Can you, even here, yeah, even now, yeah, we can have their slaughtered meat. Now, can you verify any shop that sells the meat? They can confirm the person who slaughtered the meat was a Christian or a Jew. Outwardly, even if they're outwardly, impossible. You do not know what they believe in. They may be atheists. There are many Christians who are atheists. Many shops have, due to this equal opportunity concept, they would have Hindus doing it. They would have Buddhists doing it, Sikh doing it. So do you think they all become Muslim all of a sudden or Christian because they're in a Christian shop? Not true. They can hire anyone. So that is a big problem. That is why you cannot take any meat which is in supermarket, even if it says it's halal, because they do not know if it's halal. How do they know this is halal? How do they know it's halal? How could you take their verdict on it being halal? They don't know halal. And this is what you saw. Dipping them, they don't know. Is there any problem with contamination? It's only negligible, it's only little. They don't know. And no blame to them. Why should they know? What do you know about kosher? How much do you know about kosher? Do you know a lot? No, even the scholars don't know much about that. And they're not supposed to know it. Why should we know it? That's not our area. That's their, fiqh ruling. And there may be difference of opinion. Whatever they have, that's their, stuff. So we shouldn't know it. So why we are delving into the issue which is not related to us? So this is a big problem. We go out and they say halal, we just take it, and after we don't find out. We find out there's a lot of lack of blessing in the family, some diseases, some children, small babies keep crying. The illness doesn't go away. My business is not running. My job is like giving me trouble time. Who knows what is the implication of all those haram stuff that we consume? Sometimes the ibadat are not accepted because we don't pay attention. We take it easy. So the default is meat is haram. You shouldn't be consuming any meat. It's the default haram. You have to prove it to be halal 100%. 100%, not 99%, 100%. Because the 100% is that this is haram. Unlike any other food. Other than meat, everything is halal. Other than meat, everything is halal. The chocolates, numbers or whatever. Everything, unless there's some meat ingredient, obviously. So that's why if it says suitable for vegetarian, you can have it. You have to have 100% certainty that this is haram. So they say, oh, maybe this is, as long as it's suitable for vegetarian, and you trust that. We trust it. Why? Why do we trust? You can say, oh, how could? Because it's not about religion. It's not about Muslim. They're not making it suitable for vegetarian for you and me. They're making it for people who have allergy, those who have strict, concern about vegans and that sort of. They're very popular and they're very strong in their. And they've got a lot of control of things. So they cannot, by law, make something which is not suitable for vegetarian to suitable for vegetarian. So they can't do it. So that is why when they say suitable for vegetarian, it is certain that they say suitable for vegetarian. That's it. Which means there's no animal products. When there's no animal product, the food or whatever that is halal by default. So the default is 100% halal unless you have 100% certainty that this is haram. Now, if you wanted to avoid that out of taqwa, that's a different matter. That's a different matter. That's up to you. But you should know that these chocolates, toffees, sweets, whatever, don't need to find out what that is. As long as it says suitable for vegetarian, you do not need to verify any numbers or anything else. That's just ridiculous. You don't need to go for that because the default is this is halal. As this is for the default for meat is that this is haram. Sorry. No, before you, yes. Question.
I'm just going to ask, because you buy haram meat, deal in the first place, could you refund it to the shop?
If they take it, that's fine. If they take it, that's fine. Yeah, because that was accidental buying. Yeah, accidental buying. Yeah.
Yeah, so the admission that you mentioned, what about the Shafi school and
All four schools agree on that.
no?
All four schools agree on that. Yes, Salafis, yes, you can say maybe Salafi, they do not follow any school, yes.
Why we practice
In America. In America. Not in a madhab, in America.
No, I'm talking about the big sheikh. I'm not talking about any layman people. I'm talking about the big
Ulama,
sheikh,
yes,
very
the scholars.
Renowned sheikh I'm talking about from.
And they all took, yeah,
he allowed us
to have that.
Have chicken or beef, doesn't have to be as long as chicken and beef you can eat.
Yeah. So this is not the opinion of any of the imams, number one. This is not the even opinion of Salafi imams. This is the opinion of some modern scholars in Azhar. So Sheikh Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, Allama Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, big scholar. He has given this fatwa about 50, 60 years ago. His book about halal and haram, that's where the trouble started. He's a very good scholar, but this is his view, which is not a representation of any of the 4 or 5 evidence schools. What he said then, that since this is talking about 60 years back in UK and in America, they said these are predominantly Christian countries. They are Christian by default, as Pakistan, Indonesia, Bangladesh, India, not India, are Muslim countries by default. So they said these are Christian countries. So whatever they do, they are people of book. So if they slaughter, mashallah, that's enough for us to know that they are people of book. This was then. This was then. Even then it wasn't right. And scholars have written against it, including his contemporary Maulana Maududi. He wrote against it. Mufti Taqi Usmani, he wrote against it. And many scholars have written against it. Now, but the book has, book is there, out there. People just take that. And then in America, obviously, since they have access to these books, people have just taken that. And now it is maybe about, even now maybe, but definitely 20, 30, 40 years back, it was a big problem. You would not find meat close by. You have to travel literally 100 miles to get the meat, and then you would just buy it for a whole month, and then you completely run out of it. You have to go every so often. So not many shops were around. Unlike now, especially in the West, especially in UK, you've got shops almost everywhere where Muslim lives. They have got, plenty of shops, halal meat shop. So in America, might be still difficult to get Islamic or halal shop or Muslim shops, but here it is mashallah.
But I would say probably 90-95%, but probably 100% of the Middle Eastern people or all the Muslim countries beside Pakistan in the subcontinent, by and large, vast majority of people still eat beef or chicken without any hesitation. And they criticize the Muslims. People who don't eat. Well, and this happens in the masjid. I'm not talking about anywhere. It happens in the masajid, okay? And they will criticize you if you're not eating it because you're not eating something. You're calling something
haram. Exactly. So yeah, that's the understanding, and obviously we do not agree with that. And not me. Obviously, I'm just a student. All the imam, all the scholars, they all agree. So we do not consume that. It's not permissible to consume that meat at all, no matter who says it. And they haven't got any authority, unfortunately. They've got the authority, they can do whatever, but they cannot get it back by any of the traditional madrasa or traditional school anywhere. Even they would not find Azhar supporting that by and large. There are many scholars in Azhar would go against it, and they have been. So it's one, as I said, this is the only base that they have. What? Allama Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, Hafidahullah, is still alive. He mentioned that they are majority Christian people, and their slaughter, according to Quran, is halal. Now, then he said, since Quran says that their food is halal, so whatever food they eat is halal for us. Whatever animal they have, we can have it. What he meant, goat, sheep, if they slaughtered it, that's okay. But there's a big problem. If he's made that big statement, they eat pork as well, which according to their book is haram, according to them as well, but they eat it. So would that be halal? He said, no, because this is haram in the Quran. So that's why we can't have that. So on one hand, you're saying categorically, then you're changing it with Quran, another ayat of Quran, because haram, smoke is haram by consensus. Okay, fine. So that statement has many faults in it. Number one, when Quran mentioned it, Ummah agreed for the last 1400 years, since the time of, so you would not find any Sahabi who would suggest that. They say people of book, their meat was halal, or it's still halal because they slaughtered. And it was practiced all from the previous prophets, all the time up to now. Like up to the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they used to, their dhabiha is halal. And there are many hadiths to support that. But they would just go by Quran and say that, oh, since the Quran says so, we can take that leeway. Now, taking that leeway would mean that even if you agree that, okay, it is just people of book, whatever they eat, however they slaughter, however they kill the animal is okay. You don't need to do zibah. So as I said, the default is the animal is dead. So if the animal is dead, it's haram. But anyway, even if you ignore that, as they do in America, the second point is tasmiyah. Quran says that categorically, وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا لَمْ يُذْكَرِ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ. Do not eat that on which Allah's name is not mentioned. So do they mention the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on killing their animal? Obviously not. So but there's a hadith of Sayyidah Aisha which says that you say Bismillah before eating it. So based on that, they say, we take whatever, and so subhanAllah. You now completely turn yourself against yourself. In the first instance, you said, since it is in Quran, we would not go by the hadith. We would just take Quran because that's the priority, alhamdulillah. Now, when it comes to Quran about don't eat anything on the meat that where there's no Bismillah said, we go by this hadith. So why are you changing this principle of going just by Quran based on one hadith, which ulama agreed, other than Imam al-Shafi. Imam al-Shafi rahmatullahi on this matter said, if someone accidentally omitted Bismillah, then you can say Bismillah and eat it. Accidentally omitted. So do they accidentally omit Bismillah? They don't know, and they do that deliberately. But forget about everything else. The meat slaughtered in the market, in the supermarket, in America and in UK, can you verify it's been slaughtered by people of book? If you can, maybe. So even Yusuf al-Qardawi's fatwa, based on this, cannot be acted upon when we know there is more than 50% Christians are atheist or agnostic. They stop following their own Christianity. And if you don't believe me, go and Google it and you'll find out. And it's not that in previous census, they didn't say it, but now they say it openly. They say we don't disclose our religion. Even if they don't disclose their religion, they're not Christian. So they say, no, we're not Christian. No, you are Christian because you are in America. You have to be Christian. By hammer, we make you Christian and then we take your meat. And he said, I'm not Christian, man, please. No, we are in Guantanamo Bay. You are Christian. We would make you Christian and this is your meat. We ate it. So that's up to you. I would suggest that even many Christians, and I know some of the Christians that we discuss with, even they don't eat that meat, considering them to be atheists. They say, there's atheists, we don't take their meat. And we, Muslims, are taking it. Alhamdulillah, not in the UK, and not in Europe. Alhamdulillah, it's very clear here. And I don't know, this may be my bias. I feel perhaps they don't have any traditional scholarship, and people who went there in the last 30, 40, 50 years are educated, independent people. They did not need any scholar anyway. They studied on their own, and they just gone for all those, whatever views were comfortable for them, which is maybe needed as well for the time, for the problems. And I wish they contacted ulama as we did here. So 50 years back, similar situation here. We didn't have enough meat shop. People wrote to ulama, and they wrote to Sheikh Yusuf al-Qardawi, as his fatwa came about. They also write to Mufti Shafi Usmani. Mufti Shafi Usmani, Mufti Shafi is actually the father of Mufti Taqi Usmani and Rafi Usmani, the great imams of the time. Mufti Shafi was the Grand Mufti of Pakistan. So Mufti Taqi came here. He witnessed all that, and he said, "There's a problem. People do not have enough meat. What do we say? Can they take the Zabiyah of Al-Kitab, which is according to the Quran? Okay. Zabiyah, not talking about this any meat. Zabiyah. When they've done proper Zabiyah, if they could verify it, can they take that?" Mufti Shafi Sahab say, no, not at all. Muslims should have their own slaughtered meat, no meat of people of book is allowed for them. They can't take it. And Mufti Sahib himself said that I was young then, Mufti Taqi is my sister, and for me it was like in a very odd fatwa. Why Abajan is doing this? My father is doing that. And what we didn't, obviously we couldn't say anything, but in my mind, he said, in my mind, that I came, and at that point I was here, obviously he said, and that now I came 30 years back. 30 years ago, 30 years passed, now I'm here. My father passed away. He said, and I was in that majlis, he said, and I realized that, subhanallah, what a deep thinking and a wisdom behind that. If we allowed that at that point, we wouldn't have seen many Muslim shops here. Because why wouldn't we need, meat shop? People got that fatwa, they started, all Indian, Pakistani and Bengalis, started working to find Islamic shop, Muslim shop, meat shop. We shop everywhere now. Because now you know that you needed it. And this is what exactly happened with Jummah as well. Normally you can't pray Jummah unless you have a normal established masjid. You can't do that in the offices and places. But scholars at that time, the like of Sheikh and they gave the fatwa, you can hold these. And they did, alhamdulillah. And now you find many masajid based on that just Jummah establishment in the small area there, because the community gathered together and then so this is how the wisdom works. It doesn't work like, oh, what we feel, there is a leeway, there is a possibility. Even if it's said, okay, take the view of the scholars of America, that this is permissible. And on the other side, the scholars, traditional, orthodox, backward ones, they say not allowed. At the most, it's 50-50. Okay. If it's okay, and they got it wrong, if they got it wrong here, then what? Are we in trouble by not eating something that we were allowed to consume? Eating meat is not fard. It's not even sunnah, to be honest. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam didn't have enough meat in his life. He only had, every 3 days something that he could eat. So he didn't have too much to eat anyway. So it's not even sunnah, it's only mubah. It's permissible to consume meat. It's okay to consume meat. So if you never consume anything, that's not a big problem. You're not committing any sin by not consuming meat. But if it was haram and you consumed it, where would you be? So there's a big trouble by going for that. And when you know that all traditional scholarship, even in Arab world, traditional scholarship, get the fatwa from them and you find they are all on the same principle. They all keep the same principle. May Allah give us tawfiq. We leave it there, inshallah. There's a lot we'll cover next time. There'll be a lot of discussion and debate, obviously. This is the whole idea of learning and improving on that. So maybe I would just go through some more points on this particular issue with regards to meat, because that's a big subject that will come at some point as well. And final question.
So I've seen the products which had but then alcohol.
Very good point. So we mentioned it before. So the alcohol, whenever it's used in any product, in Hanafi school, the only alcohol which is impermissible to consume or to use externally is the alcohol which is made of dates and grapes. These alcohol is as we know as a scientist, they're synthetic, number one. They are chemical. This is actually chemical. Alcohol is a chemical group. It's a phenol attached to it. Yeah, aldehyde, ketone. Remember all those chemistry bits. So that's what it is. It is not the alcohol that we consume. That is why it's perfectly fine. This alcohol in the food is perfectly fine according to Hanafi school. Now, the two situations that you should be careful about: you're not consuming it only to get that taste of alcohol from all of it. Get that. Where is that alcohol? I'm interested in that. If that's the intention, to get that kick, I was used to of having alcohol, for example, God forbid, and I'm just dying to get that taste, that small spirit taste of. Then obviously your intention is to get that alcohol, then it would still be not okay. The intention is counted there. So second is, don't do it in in that, what you call mouthwash. There's a small amount. I'll do 5 liters today so that I can get a little bit high. That's haram. So okay, not in large quantity. So as long as, so if we could ensure that this wine is not made of grapes or dates. And to be honest, since other imams consider it to be not okay, we should stay away. So I don't consume that. That fatwa is you can have it. Taqwa is you should stay away from it. Why do you need that chocolate or that thing, whatever? Because there are many alcohol-free as well anyway. So inshallah, look for those and you'll be safe. So when you found out, you can say, Alhamdulillah, I'm Hanafi. Yeah.
This one is around
Yeah. So for toothpaste is a bit of problem unless we know that it is suitable for it. Because if they have animal ingredient, that's a problem. So what I would do, inshallah, the next time I will bring you the list of some of the toothpaste that you can, inshallah, use. Because there's a list, inshallah, that we normally go by. Inshallah, yeah, that's an important point. Remind me to answer that question. We covered that on Friday, not here. So we will, inshallah, we do that. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.